and the Zeos update, and Wombat Dungeon Master Season 2, Zack and Yves on the GenerEOS Spotlight, an article from EOS Go about how the ENF steals a show from Block.one, the BSN China Mobile and EOS weekly Mandel upgrade meeting, and the EOSIO Swiss Workshop 13. So it did not go as planned. And Dogman in the house, that is right, Daniel. And hey, Soa and Moro and Veronica and Wilfred and yes. So I had a little technical error in the beginning because I got a little bit confused with my streams. This is my second time on the EOS Hot Sauce, so I'm excited to be here, and please bear with me for a couple of technical errors, but I think it'll be a really good show. Maybe a couple errors here and there, but we have lots of exciting news to share, and we will have a great time, I think. So cool. So moving on to the first topic now. Pomelo Season 2. It is now live. So it's a very exciting week for Pomelo and everyone who loves public goods. Grant submissions on Pomelo are now open. The total contributions for Season 2 funding pool are over $1 million. This is about twice as much funding as Pomelo Season 1, which was super helpful for the community last season. This is an excellent opportunity for people to be rewarded for creating public goods for the EOSIO community and to be rewarded for doing helpful work. So you can see the Pomelo site here, which I'm sure you've seen before. And if you haven't, then I highly recommend checking out. There's many great public goods here. And basically Pomelo can help you fund open source code for EOSIO, helpful public services, creative content, and many other kinds of public goods. During this week's EOS Fireside chat, I asked Daniel Keys a question about funding creators with Pomelo, funding content creators. So Daniel Keys, he said that content creation can qualify as a public good as long as it is freely available, has a tangible outcome, and helps the EOSIO ecosystem. The Fireside chats on Wednesday are a great place to learn about Pomelo. We have them every week, and it's a great place to ask questions to the Pomelo team. So cool. During the Fireside chat, we also had a very fun and insightful conversation about Pomelo Season 2 NFTs. So there's many great Pomelo Season NFTs with awesome art and cool mechanics for mixing potions and kimberlites and creating diamond pomelos and much more. You can read about it on the site. We also discussed it quite a bit on the Fireside chat, which you can listen to the audio recording for. There were some funny things where Yves wanted to get the best Pomelo NFTs, so we had a lot of laughs there. And yeah, so these are really helpful. All the funding that's raised goes to fund public goods in Pomelo and help the EOSIO ecosystem and community. You can purchase these NFTs on Atomic Hub. You can also just browse around and look at all the cool art, all the diamonds and all the fragments and so forth. And you can also purchase them easily on Pomelo, on shop.pomelo.io with Shopify, which makes it really easy for people who aren't very familiar with EOS or blockchains and so forth to purchase it very simply with the credit card. And there's lots of great options here. You can also watch a great interview about Pomelo Season 2 interviews on the EOS Writer podcast. So Jimmy D interviewed Martin, Yana, and Shimona from the .gems team. They're some of the artists who created these NFTs. And they shared many exciting details about the Pomelo NFTs. They kind of walked through the process and showed exactly what they look like and so forth. And yeah, it's really cool. I very much enjoyed learning about the Pomelo NFTs this season, and I highly recommend checking them out. There are several great places to learn about Pomelo pitches and promote your Pomelo pitch to the EOS community. So you could check out this Google Doc here, which has some information for anybody who wants to promote your Pomelo pitch and share your public goods, share what you're doing to help the EOS community and the EOSI community here. So one thing one place where you can promote your Pomelo pitch and people can listen to it is the EOS Community Fireside Chat that happens every Wednesday at 20 UTC in the EOS Discord. The pitches are generally about 5 minutes long, and there's about 15 minutes of questions and answers with the community. This week, we heard Pomelo pitches from two great teams building public goods with Pomelo. These were the first two that we heard so far this season. Bounty Block was the first one. So Dimitri from Bounty Block introduced new features for empowering EOS NFT artists and apps and brands with fun challenges and tasks. You can learn more about Bounty Block and the great tools they build on their website here. The links are in the description, of course. And there's also a some case studies where they show some very popular games like Splinterlands and Hodl Gods and Prospectors that have used Bounty Block to help bring fun tasks and engage with their community and so forth. This bounty block tools have also been very helpful for the EOS Nation and .gems team with all the Pomelo and all the NFTs from .gems as well. So yeah, I recommend checking that out. And then also EOS Starter. So Hernan, during the same EOS Fireside chat, Hernan introduced the token sale smart contract MVP that helps anyone easily sell tokens with many helpful features, MVP, minimum viable product, I believe. So he has a pitch up here for Pomelo, and you can read about it here. It sounds very exciting and very helpful. There's also a video that Hernan created, I'm not sure if it was Hernan, but it was the EOS Starter created, where you can check out and learn much more. It's quite detailed, like a 15-minute video. So that's awesome. And it's awesome to see the Pomelo logo here and the EOS Starter logo here. I also love and very much appreciate the cool Pomelo tartiers, I believe they're called. So there's some really cool art there, and I love to see what EOS Starter and Bounty Block are doing. In addition to the Fireside chats, you can also learn about great public goods on the Pomelo pitch deck interviews with GenerEOS. So you can see the GenerEOS video YouTube channel here. It's a great series where public good creators discuss their grand proposal and future plans, usually for about a half hour or so with Jimmy D. There's a lot of great podcasts. I listened to all these last year, and I greatly enjoyed them. I recommend them. For the Chinese community, there are also meetings hosted on WeChat by the EOS Nation Asia team to talk about Pomelo pitches and so forth. So yeah, I'm really excited to hear these Pomelo pitches, and I'm looking forward to hearing about all the public goods that you're creating out there in the ecosystem, and hearing about all the awesome public goods coming. Two more that are scheduled for the Pomelo pitch deck are the Grex IoT blockchain services that's coming soon, and then EOSBs, who of course are doing excellent work for the EOS community. By the way, Mara, I'm not sure exactly what time it is with UTC. I always get very confused with timing, so somebody else can maybe help you there. But yeah, so Pomelo grant submissions are now open, and Pomelo grant donations will open on March 30th. So you can check out pomelo.io and to submit grants and learn more about the Pomelo crowdfunding platform. Please check it out. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing and hearing about all the great public goods coming there to Pomelo for the EOS community. Cool. Also related to Pomelo, quite related to Pomelo, Daniel Keys was on the Everything EOS podcast. So Daniel Keys joined Zack Gall and Brendan Lovejoy in Everything EOS to discuss many exciting topics. They have really cool looking stars and pictures here. I love the hexagons and everything. Super cool design. I listened to this. I finished listening to it yesterday. It's a really great podcast. If you're not familiar with Daniel Keys, he's the CEO of EOS Nation. That's the team behind Pomelo Grants and also .gems NFT Studio, EOS Hot Sauce, which is this show here, the API Blue Plus papers, the API Plus Blue papers. A little bit of a tongue twister, I guess. Not really, but it was for me. And so much more in addition to these. So the EOS Nation does really great work, and you can check out lots of great things that they're doing for the community on their site here, and lots of great tools that they're building too. So during the Everything EOS podcast, Daniel provides a basic introduction to help people learn about Pomelo, learn about the basics, and also describes new features for season 2, such as trust bonuses and SIB resistance measures to help ensure that funding goes to helpful public good for everyone's benefit. Daniel also explains the exciting potential of an exciting proposal in the API Plus Blue Paper to integrate the graph with EOS. So you can check out the API Plus Blue Paper, and there's an overview over here with like a high-level overview that is very accessible for people. And then there's also a very detailed proposal or a very detailed paper with like about 50 pages or so forth of content, very comprehensive content and very well organized and kind of beautifully displayed and so forth. There's this proposal 8, the graph, where you can read about it, exactly what he's talking about. Basically, the graph can be super helpful to organize and filter all the data in the EOS blockchain. The graph is very popular throughout many blockchain ecosystems and is a super helpful tool. So combined with the EVM, this proposal can provide huge benefits to attract many great apps and lots of liquidity to EOS. Daniel also speaks about EOS Nation hiring and growing, hiring many people. So that's including myself, and it's also including a new manager who's working with the graph. EOS Nation is looking for developers and technical writers and many other roles. So please feel free to reach out if you can help and you can have these skills. There's also these blue papers here that you can learn all about different blue papers, which EOS Nation has also been actively involved with helping to promote and support these. And yeah, you can learn more about jobs with EOS Nation at the website here. So yeah, I really enjoyed this podcast with Daniel, Zack, and Lovejoy, and I was very grateful to hear it, and I'm looking forward to seeing all the great progress with Daniel Keys and the EOS Nation team. So the next topic now is Eden. So you might notice some difficult to read writing here if you're not from Chinese, or if you don't speak Chinese or don't read Chinese rather. So among the exciting news for Eden, and some of the very exciting news, is the Eden China trial election. So that's what we'll discuss first, and then we'll discuss some new Eden bylaws and the upcoming election in the English-speaking world. So we featured Eden China during last week's EOS Hot Sauce, and Martin shared a really great introduction during the beginning of the EOS Hot Sauce. I highly recommend watching it if you haven't already. That gives you a great overview of what Eden China is doing and how and how it works, and like the slight modifications to the Eden software and so forth. The first trial election for Eden China was successfully conducted on March 20th. There was 43 people who signed up and discussed in small groups with a modified Eden process. Each group wrote a summary of their conversation, and each elected delegate added a statement about how they intend to use the funds. There were 6 chief delegates elected: Panj, Bebe, 11, Zuhai, Gracie Lau, and Jimmy. And the head chief delegate from Start EOS and Start Wallet is Bebe. I might be mispronouncing names, so sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, chief delegates, and thank you for all the great work over there in China. The winning proposal, supported by the chief delegate, the head chief delegate, Bebe, is EOS Papa. So they'll receive a 1,000 EOS prize matched by an additional 1,000 EOS for the ENF. EOS Papa currently allows easy account creation for just 0.06 EOS per account, and they're also building a smart contract that allows easy token deployment that they estimate will be complete within about 2 months. Eden China also had their first delegate meeting this week, where they discussed the election, how it went, how they can improve it, and how the funds will be allocated, and also about supporting Chinese projects with Pomelo. So yeah, I'm very excited about Eden China. It's really great to see fractal governance and true democracy spreading around the world. These are such like profoundly helpful concepts for everybody. So it's great to see people in the EOS China community getting together and making this happen. Really great. And of course, using the funding to coordinate and talk and fund great community projects that help EOS. So I'm looking forward to what EOS Paba comes, and looking forward to seeing what I'm looking forward to seeing all the great developments from Eden China and learning much more in the future. So thank you, Chinese delegates and Chinese community, very much. In the English-speaking community, the chief delegates met for the 22nd time now to discuss the new bylaws and many other exciting topics. Dan Larimer also joined the delegates for the second half of the meeting, and they all had a really great conversation, really helpful. The second official Eden election is on April 9th. So the Eden delegates are now making a proposal to update the bylaws and help guide the future of Eden. The next chief delegates can approve the updates after the election. Eden has this process to make it so that one group of delegates can't make a big decision and change everything without the approval of the next delegates. So that's why the current chief delegates are making a proposal to help guide it, and then we'll see what happens in the future. Some notable changes in the proposal include increasing the frequency of the elections from once every 6 months to once every 3 months. This will help get a lot more people involved. 6 months was kind of a long time, and so it'll be really helpful to experiment more with the process of Eden, which I really love to see. Like the Eden elections, in my experience so far, and many other experiences I've heard, like they're really fun events, and you get to meet many amazing people in the EOS community. Many stories and many great projects have come from the Eden community and the EOS community. So it's great to see more often, and it also will align with Pomelo season as well. So that's really cool. Yeah, so here is the Eden site. As you can see, the election is coming at April 9th at 9 a.m. And we'll talk about that in a bit more soon. Eden is so exciting, so helpful. During the past week, Chris Barnes, one of the chief delegates, shared in the Eden chat that, well, he shared this Eden Bylaw worksheet on Miro that has many details about the initial Eden peace treaty and what Dan Larimer suggested and what the chief delegates are proposing, and all sorts of notes. That's very fascinating and helpful to look around. In addition to more frequent elections, some other proposed changes are reducing the membership fee from 10 EOS down to 3 EOS, which makes it easier for more people to join Eden, and also adjusting the funding allotment and reducing the effective sortition for a more evenly balanced distribution among chief delegates, and also moving the active keys to the chief delegates, which helps make Eden more independent. So you can see this worksheet at the link in the description. Chris Barnes shared a message in the Eden chat also asking for community feedback from the Eden community, and the delegates will be aiming to finalize the bylaws before, I believe, tomorrow, the 26th. So please reach out if you'd like to see any changes to these bylaws. It's always great to hear from the chief delegates and Dan Larimer also provides some very helpful input about the bylaws. So yeah, I'm excited about these proposed changes, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing Eden grow with the next election and more elections after that. So during the same meeting, the chief delegates and Dan Larimer also spoke about some options that are very interesting for the future of Eden, EOS, and ƒractally. Jesse from the Bees asked Dan some really great questions, and the group agreed that it would be very helpful to make a detailed proposal for ƒractally on EOS. They discussed many interesting ideas to help grow fractal governance on EOS, including an idea that Dan suggested for something called synthetic staking for Eden communities. So you can learn more about this idea of synthetic staking and many other ideas, many other just great things that have been being shared in these long Eden chief delegate calls on these great clips from Chuck McDonald. Chuck's just been like making this amazing content. It's kind of difficult for a lot of people to listen to like those very long podcasts. I personally love them, but I also really love to see the short content that makes it really accessible and can be easily shared. So you can check that out on the Eden on EOS YouTube channel. The synthetic stake and the bylaws are two great ones I'd recommend from the last one. Yeah. And so I recommend checking out that video and all those clips. The next Eden election is scheduled for April 9th, next official Eden election in the English-speaking community, that is, April 9th at 9 a.m. EDT or Eastern Standard Time. So please remember to RSVP at least a day in advance. And if you haven't joined Eden yet and would like to participate, then please feel free to reach out to me, or Eden or EOS support can be very helpful for that, or many other Eden members. So yeah, I'm super excited for the next Eden election, and I hope to see you there. It's going to be really cool. The second ever official fractal election, which is like amazing. I feel like we're at like the beginning of history, or like, I don't know, just very historic and very helpful, because I think that fractal governance would be so helpful for the world in general. Speaking of fractal governance, ƒractally on EOS Brainstorming Session, also related to this talk, kind of stemmed from the chief delegate meeting. So this week, for the first time, we met for the first weekly brainstorming session for implementing ƒractally on EOS. I participated in this meeting, and there were many other great EOS community leaders there. It was super helpful and super exciting. There's also really cool art too, which I really like. I'm not exactly sure who added that, but Patrick was also very happy with that too. Yeah, so basically the ƒractally brainstorming sessions are incentivized and driven discussions that are hosted by the EOS Bees and Nova Crypto. Members of the EOS community can earn EOS by proposing helpful ideas for ƒractally on EOS with mindweb.io. Mindweb is a tool that Patrick's company, Nova Crypto, is building with EOS to organize helpful ideas. And if you're not already familiar with Mindweb, So if you're not already familiar with Mindweb or the EOSBs, then you can check out their Pomelo pitches, which provide many helpful details about Mindweb and also the EOSBs, who are, of course, like, it's just great to see all these amazing Pomelo pitches. And so thankful for Pomelo for providing this place for these great public goods to organize and to share their work and to fund them. So yeah, the goal of these brainstorming sessions is to create a detailed proposal to create ƒractally on EOS it's to create a proposal with like really detailed step-by-step plans that satisfy the many cultures in EOS. So when the ƒractally white paper was released last month, many EOS community members were very excited, but not really sure how ƒractally would actually be implemented on EOS. There's a lot of details that weren't clear. And during the recent chief delegate meeting, Jesse suggested making a detailed proposal with that step-by-step process to empower EOS fractal governance. Dan Larimer agreed, and him and Karen Cox made some funny jokes about underpants gnomes. And basically they said that the proposal with the white paper was missing some steps that were really needed to help build ƒractally on EOS. So Patrick was already planning to host these brainstorming sessions with ƒractally, and Jesse and Patrick decided to work together to host these meetings. It came together pretty quickly, and Jesse and Patrick also created like a really interesting incentive model. I think it shows on this page. It might show on the other one. You can also see the mind map here, which is really cool, and I'll show more about that in a moment. But yeah, basically they created this incentive model where people can earn EOS by proposing helpful ideas to MindWeb. So anyone can propose ideas with the link in the description. And each week we on the call will discuss different proposals, determine the most helpful ideas. And if a supermajority of participants, 2/3 plus 1, agree to add to the mind map, then the proposer will receive an EOS reward that's funded by the EOSBs. The reward is 100 EOS per week, and it's split amongst whoever submits helpful ideas to the mind map. That get accepted. So we had a great discussion this week with lots of enthusiasm and passion for both ƒractally and EOS, and there were many interesting ideas discussed during this meeting. One of these interesting ideas was potential for this group to help form an EOS fractal, which can be super helpful to create public goods for EOS. And yeah, I really love to see this initiative from Jesse and Patrick, and am very thankful for all the passionate and super smart EOS community members who are participating to help grow ƒractally on EOS. We're meeting every Monday. We're meeting every Monday. You can also check out the video recording from the first one that we had on this Monday. And I recommend it. There is, of course, many great ideas, as I was saying before. And then also the mind map over here, which you can see like there's different categories for technical improvements and EOS inflation and so forth. So basically just breaking down how EOS can work on like a step-by-step basis and all the details. So yeah, it's really exciting. This event is hosted in the goƒractally.com site that Joshua Seymour set up, specifically the group for the EOS Network DAO, which is performing a fractal for the EOS Network. So you can learn more about it here. And we're meeting every Monday at different times to accommodate people in all different time zones. So the next meeting is this upcoming Monday at 14 UTC. And please check out the link if you're interested in attending or submitting ideas. And I'm looking forward to hearing from you and from hearing from the community and discussing many great ideas in the next meeting to help empower EOS with fractal governance. So at this point in the show, I think it's a great time to say, hey everybody, please like this video and subscribe to see more great content from EOS Nation. We have a lot of great videos on the channel, and so please hit the bell, and that way you'll be reminded when there are new great videos like the hot sauce coming out. There's also great content from .gems, and also we have a Party Cracker giveaway coming up. So with the Party Crackers, you can have a chance to win some great EOS NFTs. And I'm not exactly sure because it's one of my first time doing this show. Normally we have it where you can go to the most recent tweet on the EOS Nation channel and then put your EOS account name into the comment. So I'll do it right here on this tweet. I might be doing the wrong tweet, but I think you could probably do it in this tweet, and then that will help to enter you into the Party Cracker giveaway. So you put your EOS account name and you hit reply, and then the tweet was sent. And then if you win, then we'll reach out and send that Party Cracker giveaway, or we'll give away the Party Cracker with some great NFTs from EOS. So yeah, hope that everybody's enjoying the show. I'm really enjoying the show so far. It's been super fun, and I am super thrilled to be here, and I'm super appreciative of the opportunity from EOS Nation. There's so many great people here with Stefan and Yana helped me out in production, and Martin was super helpful last week with the call, and he also gave me some advice here. So yeah, thanks everybody at the EOS Nation team for this opportunity, and thanks everybody for watching. Hope everybody's having a great day and enjoying this news. We also have a lot more exciting news coming up. So let's move on to the next topic. The next topic is Zeos. So Zeos had an update. Zeos announced the launch of the first version of the Zeos JavaScript wallet recently. So this means that you're now able to conduct fully private and untraceable transactions on the Kylan testnet. Kylan testnet is like one of the places where we test out transactions before moving it onto the full and like official and main EOS mainnet. So if you're interested in testing this new technology, one, you can check out many details in this thread from Zeos, and then two, you can also check out the EOS, the Zeos wallet that's over here, and then also the testnet tools from EOS Argentina, which you need to do the testing with the Zeos wallet. So there is that, and then you can also check out the Zeos website too, which is really cool. I like their design a lot, and privacy matters. So basically what Zeos does is, or will do, is it will enable fully private and untraceable transactions on the EOS mainnet. So it'll provide privacy with many great benefits of EOS, including feeless transactions, half-second block times. You can see all these details on the website. Zeos is also using the DApp network, which is on EOS, to provide unlimited scaling and the lowest computing costs for the end user, for people using it. So you can do private transactions very cheaply and do many of them. I'm a really big fan of the DApp network, and it's great to see Zeos using EOS and the DApp network to make all these helpful services for everybody with EOS, and creating like a really great private option for everybody to use that has so many helpful features. The long-term goal of Zeos is to create tools that empower developers to build an entirely private DeFi ecosystem on the EOS mainnet. So yeah, privacy is really important and really helpful. So that's awesome. Transactions on Zeos are based on zero-knowledge proofs, which are state-of-the-art technology for private transactions. If you're not familiar with ZK snarks, I very much recommend this video where a computer scientist explains ZK snarks in 5 levels of difficulty. So it's a really wonderful technology. ZK snarks, like, it's really magical, and they talk about like how it's like magic in this video. And yeah, the teacher in this video is really great, and the students and the teacher share really great conversations, especially the first few minutes. This student right here, and then the next student, like, there's really simple breakdowns that explain how ZK snarks work. That's just really awesome for explaining ZK snarks to everybody, basically. In addition to enabling privacy, ZK snarks also enable blockchains to scale and securely process more transactions, like way more transactions than ever before. Recently, James Mark put out a tweet about how ZK proofs and rollups are the future of multi-chain scalability as opposed to cross-chain scalability, and how this is extremely important work. So basically, with ZK snarks, well, there's a great article from venture capitalist Hasib Qureshi, if I'm pronouncing his name right, about how blockchains are like cities and layer 2 blockchains are like skyscrapers. So I read this recently. It's really great. I recommend it. And there's like some cool visualizations where you can kind of visualize like roll-ups. ZK snarks enable roll-ups. So basically it's like you can build up on the blockchain and scale it up. So ZK snarks enable us to build layer 2 solutions like skyscrapers on top of EOS and help make EOS into like an ever more fun and helpful and useful and vibrant city. So this can enable EOS to independently process many millions of transactions per second with the same security as EOS, which is what I think James Mark was talking about there. Like a lot of scaling solutions, you give up the security, but with ZK snarks, you can do it with the security of EOS. So that's great. And these developments to enable privacy are super exciting, and they're all funded by Pomelo and by Eden too. So during the first season of Pomelo, Zeos raised quite a bit of funding by creating open source libraries and tutorials to make it easy for EOS developers to integrate ZK snarks. So you can read about it here. It's really awesome to see the public good funding mechanisms like Pomelo and Eden funding such helpful tools for everybody. And the launch of the Zeos JavaScript wallet is another big milestone for Zeos and the greater EOS ecosystem. For the first time in the history of EOS, users are now able to conduct fully private and untraceable transactions with state-of-the-art technology. And yeah, I'm stoked to see the great developments from the Zeos team and awesome public goods enabled by Pomelo and Eden, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing more. The next topic, also, there might be some relation with like privacy and darkness and not being seen. So we have Wombat Dungeon Season 2. So this is really cool. The Womplay team released a video to show what's new in Dungeon Master Season 2. So prepare to get crafty with some wombats. So this is a wombat, by the way. I did not know that previous to like last year. So they're really cool looking creatures and awesome art, of course, too. So yeah, Dungeon Master, it's an exciting play to earn game and a staking adventure where players can explore dungeons with these wombats and find NFT treasures. Season 2 will include many kinds of new NFTs that players can blend together to find more special loot. You can check out this video. It's really cool. That explains all the new NFTs. Like you can get iron and you can blend it, and you can get uranium and coal and different materials. Then you can also use lamps and glasses and hats and amulets and shovels and bags and shoes and wombatium and all these different kinds of NFTs that you can use to equip your wombat and to harvest more materials and find more treasure and find more loot and so forth. So yeah, it's really cool. I really love to see the art in Dungeon Master. Like it's amazing looking, and it's great to learn about all the new additions to help players have fun and earn while exploring dungeons with cute wombats. It's also great to see EOS with all these different arts and cultures and so forth. I really love it. And it's also been quite successful so far. So during the first season, there were over 22,000 active players, and the top player earned over $5,000. So you can learn more. That's cool. You can learn more about Dungeon Master and start playing at dungeon.wombat.app. Here's also the white paper. It's not so white, but it's like really also artful. And there's lots of details that you can learn more about exactly how everything works. So that's cool. And then you can learn and you can play at the website here, also in the description. And yeah, season 2 is kicking off on March 30th. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing all the great developments with wombats in Dungeon Master. So, and also maybe a little bit of a segue here. We'll see if the segue works. So Zack and Yves on the GenerEOS spotlight. The segue I was thinking is like, there's kind of like a spotlight there. There's like a lamp. So, okay, maybe it's not the best segue, but it works. Yeah, so there's GenerEOS spotlight hosted by Jimmy D. Zack and Yves joined, and they shared very interesting conversations about their experiences of growing the ENF and the exciting potential of the EOS EVM and the blue papers, and the vast amount of content that's coming together in EOS. There's also much more topics too, but that's just my like brief summary here. So it's very fascinating to learn how the ENF is growing. Zack and Yves started the ENF basically as a 2-man team back in last August, and the team is rapidly growing. There's many super talented team members who have recently joined the ENF, including Brandon Lovejoy, Ted Hall, and Jeff Werner. And yeah, it's really great to see. I mentioned, I think last week, it's great to see Lovejoy join the team and doing so much helpful work. And then experienced executives like Ted and Jeff have enabled the ENF to work so much more productively than ever before. And like, there's so many exciting new developments in progress now that the team is bigger and working on all these different levels. They shared all these updates about what's happening with the blue papers, which of course you can read more here about all the different blue papers, Wallet Plus, Core Plus, API Plus, Wallet, the EVM Plus is in development and so forth, and how all these different initiatives are working together to be super helpful for EOS. Incredibly exciting how they're all like coming together. So that's really cool. And another one of my favorite topics from this podcast with Yves and Zack and Jimmy was about the vast amount of content in the EOS community. So you can see here, there's the Everything EOS channel, which there's a lot of great content here. There's EOS Fireside chats, there's the rants with Yves, and there's also been many rants from around the community with many great community members. There's also been EOS Writer podcast, which I talked about before, then Bywire and Mandel meetings and EOS meetings and Helios meetings and Eden meetings and Fractal meetings. And there's so much more. I'm missing out so much of it. There's so much great content that's being released about EOS every day. And even when you're paying attention constantly, even when like you're constantly listening, and I am, like, it's just very exciting to learn about this, it's very difficult to keep up with because there's so much exciting stuff. So that's awesome. And they talked about this during the podcast. And another thing they talked about too was like, now that our community is creating short clips from these discussions, we're building up an archive of like great, well-spoken videos to help answer questions and inspire the community and attract new community members to EOS. So you can see some here. I believe that these were edited by Dave from the EOS Nation team, and he's doing a great job making it look awesome and finding out like the best short content super helpful. I've also been working quite a lot on something with Eden creators to help use fractal governance to incentivize like lots of video production. So we have all this great content that we can both watch now, and then this is an archive that we can dig into and kind of like mine and refine for great short videos and great stuff for later. And those kinds of short videos are really helpful for people to help people understand the benefits of EOS. So yeah, it's a very good time to be in EOS, and this conversation with Yves and Zack and Jimmy was, they provided a great overview of many exciting developments. So I recommend it. Also, on a somewhat related note, EOS Go recently came out with an article. ENF steals a show from Block.one is the title of the article. And it's basically about how EOS became a independent DAO, and it's now more exciting than ever. So to summarize, in late 2021, the EOS Network Foundation and the EOS block producers worked together and decided to stop paying 67 million EOS tokens to Block.one, who were the original developers of EOSIO. Community was planning to pay EOS to Block.one on this vesting schedule for the next 6 years for services to help EOS, but Block.one wasn't really helping very much. So the community decided to stop making the payments. And the EOS community is now independent of Block.one. And the ENF is leading the way far more effectively than ever before. So there's this great website. The ENF is planning to release like a full website very soon, I think. Yves was talking about that in a recent Fireside chat, and I love the branding and the direction, and I just love the vision of the ENF. So it's really, really helpful, and they're executing really well. So it's really exciting. Last month, Yves also announced that the ENF hired 3 of the best senior level EOSIO engineers. So many of the best developers and leaders who were at Block.one have recently joined the ENF and the EOS community. So that includes Ted K. Hall and Jeff Werner to talk about, and also, of course, includes Dan Larimer as well. And with all these amazing people, you can read more about it here and all the ENF social media channels and so forth. And with all these amazing people and so many exciting developments happening in EOS, it's just super, super exciting. It's like more exciting than ever. And there's so much coming together at once and so many amazing people in the ecosystem. So it's great to see. The next topic, also like a very, very big topic. So the Chinese state-backed blockchain-based service network, or the BSN, has announced the Zhangyi chain, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, which is developed by China Mobile to bolster homegrown Chinese NFTs. China Mobile is the worldwide biggest telecommunications provider based on the number of users and also the market cap. It's listed on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. In this tweet, they wrote that it's based on the EOS blockchain, and it adds to a growing number of technical options for the BSN for developers to build dApps and mint NFTs in China. It's not totally clear exactly how it's working with EOS yet. It seems like Zhangyi chain might be a private EOSI chain that plugs into EOS. And basically what it seems like is that like the BSN is like a centralized and like a trusted middle layer that connects private blockchains from these giant tech companies like Tencent and Alibaba to public blockchains like EOS. Doing this enables Chinese apps to interact with public blockchains, and the Zhangyi chain enables NFTs and dApps that are compliant with Chinese regulations, which is, of course, like a huge market. There's so many people in China. So it's helpful to enable the access to access blockchains like EOS for all these Chinese apps. And the BSN has been working with EOS for a long time, and Chinese authorities have greatly respected EOS for a long time. So in 2021, Chinese Center for Information Industrial Development, or the CCID, ranked EOS as the #1 blockchain. Basically, it's an institution run by the Chinese government for studying information technology and looking at all the blockchains. And this is now the 4th year in a row that the CCID has listed EOS as the best blockchain in the world. So yeah, this screen here shows 2019. I had the link also at 2021, 2018, but I lost them. But yeah, it basically ranks it. You can see all the links and all the lists. And EOS has been consistently at the top. So people really like to see EOS in China, and I can certainly see why. There's also a great interview with Yves Rose and Alex Bourget and Yifan He from the BSN on the Everything EOS channel in 2020. During this interview, you can learn much more about how BSN works and how it can drive EOS adoption with end-to-end integration between the BSN and EOS. It's a really interesting interview. And yeah, as I was saying, I can certainly see why the Chinese state is so excited about this and why these huge Chinese companies are so excited to work with EOS. And I'm very much looking forward to learning more about the BSN. Okay, cool. So the next topic is the weekly Mandel upgrade meeting. So there was another weekly Mandel meeting published this week where you can listen to many great community leaders who are community leaders. I think I might have said leaders create the future of the EOS core software. So basically there's like 17 great leaders and developers in the EOS community who got together this week. They've been getting together for just about every week for the past couple months, I believe now. And basically EOS has run on the EOSIO software for the past couple of years, which was created by Block.one, like I mentioned before. And now for the first time in the EOS community, the EOS community itself is developing the software, the core software independently. So this week there was some exciting developments. The Mandel release 3.0.05 has been merged and it's ready to be tested on Jungle. ƒractally and OCI are working on this as release candidate 1. So there's a lot of exciting news there. It's fascinating to see these conversations with the developers and learn how these important decisions are being made. In a lot of ecosystems, you wouldn't be able to hear this, but there's all this great content so we can actually learn how these big decisions are happening and all the thought that's going into them and all the progress. And then also, like I was mentioned before, the video production is really, really helpful. So these videos look cool. They have really cool visuals, and it's also well audited with. It's also well edited with the video, with the audio. So you can learn a lot about Mandel very quickly. So you can listen to these meetings every week on the Everything EOS YouTube channel, and also you can see much more about it in the GitHub repository from Daniel Keys. So he updates it every week, and you can check out the meeting summaries and recordings. Yeah, so there's a lot of information, so you can learn more and more about Mandel and keep up with all the exciting progress. And the last topic that we'll discuss, more content, way more content here, and such an exciting amount of content and kind of content here. So the EOSIO Swiss workshop number 13, it released this week, with interviews from many great leaders in the EOS community. So during this workshop, Patrick Schmidt interviewed Daniel Keys, the CEO of EOS Nation, Aaron Cox and Chris Barnes from Eden, Jetsi Sekema, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, who is the CTO of Bywire News, Randall Rowland, who is the CEO of EOS Support. So you can see all these great interviews on the Nova Crypto YouTube channel. There's a whole bunch of great ones that he's done. This is the 13th one, so he's been doing for quite a while. And he releases all these interviews as a batch. I've listened to many of them before, and they're like super insightful and super helpful. You can also find them on this article from Bywire News, where you can basically see them all together. You can also see it with the EOSIO Swiss workshop mind map too, which I will move to the next screen to show you a more zoomed in version. So this is back to the mind mapping software that we were talking before with the ƒractally on EOS sessions that Patrick from Nova Crypto is building. And so you can check out these mind maps to see, all the different details about the different episodes and like different conversation topics and so forth. So it's really helpful. It's really helpful to organize it and see it in all these different categories. And also there's just a bunch of really great interviews here and lots of great things to learn about EOS with these EOSIO Swiss workshops. Patrick also recently released the 6th special edition or special Latin American episode with Maurice Vanegas, where they spoke about EOS microloan, about news in Nigeria and Uganda, and the HuFi movement, the human finance, and the decentralized marketplace templates at eosdttrack.com. So this is also really cool too. EOS microloan has been doing really great work in empowering so many people in Venezuela and across the world. And this site enables people to basically create websites, templates, or it has templates for websites to enable decentralized marketplaces really easily and really quickly. So yeah, I really love to listen to these, to all these interviews on the Nova Crypto channel. It's really helpful, and I always learn so much from them, and I'm looking forward to listening and learning so much more great content from Nova Crypto. And just in general, like I was saying before, like there's so much amazing content at EOS right now. So it's a really great time to be in EOS and to watch and listen to all this. And on that note, it's also a great time to bring the show to a close now, and because there's a lot of content to learn about and a lot to listen to as well. So yeah, I hope that everybody has enjoyed the show very much. I've enjoyed it very much. It's been really fun speaking here and seeing everybody in chat and sharing all this exciting news. So yeah, everybody keep it spicy. Please remember to like and subscribe for more great content from EOS Nation. Thanks again for watching. Thanks everybody for being here and being in the EOS community. I'm really thankful for all the great people here. And I'm very much looking forward to the EOS hot sauce next week to sharing with you. And so much more exciting news coming up. So everybody go EOS, and thanks everybody so much. See you later. All right.